It's time to discuss a very hard topic, but one that I feel like definitely deserves some attention, which is just the fact that why does it seem like Sony completely hates the PlayStation 3? Because let's be clear, it does seem like they kind of poop on it constantly. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Now, first and foremost, we are going to be talking about the new service that's done by PlayStation called PS Plus Premium. For the most part, I am incredibly excited about this. I am a huge retro gamer. Along with doing my modern day reviews, I'm a big collector of old school horror and weird eclectic RPGs. I appreciate that video games are this big, diverse art form, but I've always found it strange that if you want to play PlayStation 3 games, you actually have to buy a PlayStation 3. While some games have been brought forward, like God of War, like one of the God of Wars has come back, freaking Last of Us obviously got to remaster, there's stuff like the Uncharted collection, a lot of the best and greatest PlayStation 3 games have been forever stuck on the PlayStation 3. Now with this new service, PlayStation Plus Premium, you'll notice that right here it says that it is bringing forward a catalog of beloved classic games and streaming and downloadable options for the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation Portable generations. Now, to be honest, a lot of us have been incredibly excited as soon as we saw this. I am extremely hyped to play this, but it is undeniably a big detriment that PlayStation 3 games are going to be available via cloud streaming only. Now, why is this such a detriment? To be quite honest, I have a chance to talk to a lot of subscribers from all across the globe, and people do tell me that in certain countries, certain nations, certain territories, they straight up do not have the internet that can even enable streaming. They don't have the physical infrastructure, the data bandwidth caps are so low, it is impossible to stream a video game. While you may be able to stream a TV show or play like a World of Warcraft raid online with your friends, being able to actually play an entire game seamlessly is downright impossible for your entire country. Now, I do happen to have very fast internet here, but even me, I can say that this objectively freaking sucks. It's weird that they would have the service that is, by definition, incomplete for a big chunk of the globe. Now, part of the reason I want to talk about this today is because honestly, there was this article that popped up on my timeline that sort of talks about the fact that it's strange that Sony, even if they're willing to monetize the PlayStation 3, they definitely do not respect the PlayStation 3. Like, actually consider the fact that the PlayStation 3, its entire generation was something was strange because initially, the PlayStation 3 actually kind of flopped at first. When it first came out, a lot of people were hating on the PlayStation 3, but over time, it managed to gain a lot of momentum. It got a big catalog of games, it managed to sell more and more, and at the end of the generation, it actually pulled ahead. The PlayStation 3 outsold the Xbox 360, which still to this day completely blows my mind. But when you consider it, it's kind of bizarre that Sony has not gone back and really gone to that well. Truly consider the fact that games like Metal Gear Solid 4, which only exists on a physical PlayStation 3, is locked. It is console locked. You cannot play this important part of the Metal Gear Solid saga without purchasing an actual physical console and playing it. That is the only way it's even possible. But even other stuff that's sort of been just interesting is people basically saying, okay, how much does this actually matter? A lot of the best PlayStation 3 games have been brought over. Shadow of the Colossus, Uncharted became the Uncharted Collection, Demon's Souls got the amazing PlayStation 5 Remake, Last of Us, God of War 3, they're all available on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. This PlayStation executive actually goes on record to talk about the fact that PlayStation 3 made a very important and very direct decision that in order to sell more PlayStation 4s, they decided to never talk about the PlayStation 3 because the PlayStation 3 for a while had a very bad vibe to it. It left a bad taste in people's mouths because it was a very expensive console at launch and stuff like that. They just basically realized that Sony needed to burn it. They need to bury the past, kill it if they have to. When you take a big step back and actually analyze what PlayStation has been doing for this last couple of years, it feels like this was definitely the case. I mean, the last decade now, the PlayStation 4 and now the PlayStation 5 have become big hit successes, and part of that is just accessibility. If you didn't know this, the PlayStation 3 was incredibly difficult to develop games for. It was actually very, very tough to get games to run on it well. It had this thing called asymmetrical architecture. Essentially, the games that were made for the PlayStation 3 could not run on other systems that well. You basically had to build an entire game strictly on its style and then make it work. And it was difficult. It was expensive. A lot of people, while it did manage to have the best graphics and a lot of times the best features, it was something that was such a tough task. Most people just did not want to deal with it. Now, I understand that, but people are now saying that theoretically, you could make a good version of a PlayStation 3 emulator on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 for a cost. So this is my buddy MVG, obviously Modern Vintage Gamer. This guy is a genius. I don't mean to compliment him too hard. The guy works doing the best ports in the business. He made the amazing Doom ports. He does Switch ports. He does console ports. The guy understands converting code to code better than anybody on the planet. And I'm dead serious about that. Well, he had a viral tweet where he said emulation of the PlayStation 3 is absolutely possible on the PlayStation 5. Sony has never been interested in investing the millions it would take to make it happen. Now, he's basically saying right here that he could do it, a team of people could do this, but it's going to take the time to figure this out, to tinker around, to make it actually work, to troubleshoot, to test. Like he talks about in a lot of his videos that they could do this, but getting a good emulator to work is something that is hard. Look, as much as I love Sony, and I do have a gigantic collection of PlayStation games and stuff, I'm constantly playing my PlayStation Vita and all that. My thought is that what kind of sucks the most is that if you make something that fails, like if PlayStation puts out a game and it doesn't do gigantic numbers, or a console doesn't do as well as they imagine, they kind of just bury it. They just completely walk away from it. Like, actually consider the fact that Sony has done the PlayStation Classic. They're constantly trying to do stuff like making the PlayStation 2 games sellable on the PlayStation 4. Like, Sony understands that its legacy absolutely matters. They fully comprehend the fact that classic fans love their classic games. I still say that some of the best 3D stuff that has ever been created was on old school PlayStation tech, and that includes the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 time period. Those eras, those games are still so important. So the fact that Microsoft is willing to support its Xbox 360 and PlayStation has decided to throw theirs off into the void is eternally disappointing. Especially, they talk about the fact that right now streaming is just not a good option. Like, even if you have the best streaming, the fastest internet, a lot of times it has terrible input delay, blurry visuals, like it just sucks. It is such a mistake for Sony to act like this is enough. For Sony to act like you can just, set it and forget it. People will play it. People will be okay with it when they won't be. I wish that Sony would do the right thing and actually respect the fact that the PlayStation 3 matters. Many of the best games that came to the PlayStation 3, since I mentioned it has that very strange architecture, a lot of them have never even been ported to other platforms. They're not even on PC and stuff, which means that if you actually want to play PlayStation 3 games, you have to buy a PlayStation 3. To me, this is ridiculous. Sony, support your own stuff. Actually give people what they want. People aren't asking for free handouts. People aren't begging for you to just do this for zero cost. We're willing to pay the money. I'm going to go a step further. I've seen people saying that they were a little bit mad that I'm so excited about this new service. The fact that I think PlayStation Plus Premium is so epic. But let me be clear. I think this is cool. I truly believe this is so cool because it's just nice that Sony is bringing back their oldest games with new support. We don't know all the details yet, but it seems like just assumedly that this is going to be upscaled resolution. The games are going to be cleaned up. It's not going to be the fastest emulation, but it's still cool to see that these old school PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and PlayStation Portable games are going to be coming forward. PlayStation even filed some patents that makes it seem like they're going to be adding in trophy support for these older games. The idea of playing like Crisis Core on my big TV with trophies and stuff, like that alone is completely worth the price. I am still excited about this process, and even if it does have some cracks in the ship, I'm still on board with PlayStation Plus Premium. But still, Sony, figure this out. PlayStation 3 streamed is simply not acceptable. But what do you guys think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do it the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Oh, man. All right. I'm working on a Chrono Cross Remastered review, by the way. So if you want to see me talk about Chrono Cross Remastered on Switch and PS4, see that video soon. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.